Have you ever heard of a film from 2014 called Whiplash? If you haven't, let me tell you all about it. Whiplash is a film about a 19-year-old male drummer named Andrew Nelman, played by Miles Teller, who's invited to play in the drums in the Terence Fletcher's jazz class. But as Andrew participates in the class, he noticed Terence Fletcher's, played by J.A.K. Simmons, is a very much always emotionally abusing his students by shouting at them all the time when someone messes up their part in the songs they perform. If you want my honest opinion on this movie, well, I find it absolutely terrible, and here's why. My main concern with this film is that Terence Fletcher is nothing but an asshole to his students, especially Andrew Nelman, because like I said, he's always emotionally abusing them by shouting at their faces. Even when I watched memes based on this movie, I always feel a sense of anger when Terence is on screen. But what I want to explain to you is something that occurred 3 years ago that I want to get off my chest. It all dates back to December of 2023. My grandma was out of town for the week and I was all what I call house sitting for her. I was watching a good film called Aqua Teen Hunger Force, movie film, for years, which is what I consider a good movie in my opinion, while folding some laundry in the process. After the movie ended, I was looking through the TV guide to see if any other channels were playing anything good. I looked at the FX channel, and apparently the movie Whiplash was on. I hadn't heard about the movie for a hot minute, so I decided to see which scene was playing at the time. When I jumped to the FX channel, the film was at the scene where Terence Fletcher tells Andrew that he no longer needs him by telling him that he's done. But after he said those words, something happened that made me completely confused. As soon as Andrew Nelman put his head down, the film suddenly paused. I couldn't hear Andrew breathing, but it just paused right there without warning. I thought maybe that I accidentally caused this, so I pressed the guide button to make sure it wasn't like this, and surprisingly, the guide and everything else still worked on the cable box. I guess was that the FX was suffering some technical difficulties, or maybe there was supposed to be a test for the emergency alert system coming out, but it was taking forever. I waited a few seconds just to see if maybe the film would continue like normal. This went on for 20 seconds, which quickly became slow and boring. After those 20 seconds, the film came back, but when it did, I got goosebumps real quick, and here's how. First off, Andrew's breathing sounded demonic for some unknown reason. Second, when Andrew lifted his head up, I looked very carefully and saw that his eyes were quickly becoming like a hellish red color, and he apparently started growing small devil horns. Andrew charged at Terence like he originally did, but he was screaming at him, which never happened in the original version of Whiplash. Andrew then pushed Fletcher to the ground as normal, but then he started punching at him in the face repeatedly. The guards who were like this in the original movie tried to stop Andrew, but apparently Andrew knew that what was going on and he punched one of them in the face, which for unknown reason once again sent him flying towards one of the walls. As the guard hit the wall very hard, I could see a hole being made. Holy shit, I whispered. I'm not sure how any of this was possible, given that the original movie Whiplash did not have anyone with superpowers. Andrew then grabbed Fletcher from the ground and spoke to him in a demonic tone. Throughout my time here, you have been an absolute asshole to me and all the other students during practice. All I wanted to do was be a part of a jazz band, and you've been ruining my dream and shouting at me in my face, yelling at your students during practice, and most recently, you're disqualifying me from playing in the band. You're an absolute horrible teacher who shows no forgiveness and no respect. And when Terence, who apparently has tears growing out of his eyes, I couldn't tell if J.K. Simmons was actually crying, or this was scripted in the movie, was from the alternative universe. Nelman, please, I know I'm an aggressive teacher, but I deserve forgiveness. Look around you. Everyone in the band is being evacuated because of your actions. Please, Nelman, give me another chance. I'm sorry, I'll let you be in the band, and I'll never yell at you or my students ever again. Fletcher said, You should have thought of this the day you invited me to be in your band, Andrew shouted. And now you're going to an unknown world where you'll never be seen again. Andrew continued, as he snapped his fingers, making a portal appear. He then kicked Terrence Felcher in the portal, and Terrence found himself in a pitch-black world. "Hello? Can anyone get me out of here?" Terrence asked. Just then he heard a growling noise out of nowhere. Terrence looked to his right and saw two pairs of demonic eyes looking at him. But then the eyes closed, and the creature with those eyes began to charge at Felcher while roaring. But before it could make eye contact with Terrence, a pair of color bars appeared on screen. At this rate, I was traumatized pretty badly. I could not believe that I had walked into an edited cut of Whiplash that was so scary. I wanted to know who the hell thought it was a good idea to air the most unusual version of Whiplash without warning that this slightly altered. I was planning on telling several of my friends on Discord, but they probably wouldn't believe me at all. Heck, probably none of them watch the cable anymore, and they've moved on to streaming services. If I could have recorded the whole thing on my phone and published it on Discord, I would have. However, at the time, I did not have Discord installed yet because I was mainly using my Chromebook for internet stuff. So then I Googled FX schedule to see what was airing on FX the next day, and I saw this, and according to the website, I got it from it, and it said the channel was showing the first two Equalizer movies, and then 2 airings of Jason Bourne. My only question was, why in the heck they were airing a disturbing version of Whiplash in my area? My theory is that somebody probably hijacked the station, airing FX, and replaced the movie with a horrifying cut of Whiplash. As of today, I really do not like the original version of Whiplash, and I'm probably never going to get over my hatred for it. It's just my opinion. Well, this was certainly a pasta that I never expected to, narrate, but yeah, here it goes. This story, I definitely do need to sit here and say was from Spin Pasta Wiki, so I'll leave a link in description for any of you guys who want to go check out this story. Now, and that was a completely unusual FX airing of Whiplash, a lost movie, I guess you could say lost movie creepypasta written by the Yukari Takeba Fanatic 2003. My final thoughts on the story? Alright, I definitely do need to really sit here and say is that while this story does contains a cliche of a protagonist turning into an evil character, I definitely can see this being the case. Mainly because Andrew has been fed up with, the emotional abuse that his teacher was given. So he went berserk. That's basically what this story is. And honestly, I didn't think this was a bad story. This was actually pretty good for what it is. I mean, the grammar is really good and well done. The sentence structuring is done pretty good. I personally do need to sit here and say it was that the fury about someone hijacking the station FX and replaced the movie with a horrifying version of this film, that is actually quite believable. I can definitely say that is actually quite believable. And, I mean, hijackings can happen anytime, you just don't know it. So that's something I really need to sit here and say is that, it's possible that hijacking could have happened. However, I will sit here and say is that while this is a really interesting concept for a story, I personally really thought this was really neat and well done, especially with the concept and everything about this film. It's just a really great story. Like, I really enjoyed this story. Like, when I first saw this story, it was linked to me on Discord. I ended up deciding to have a look at it, and it's not a bad story. I personally really thought it was enjoyable. I mean, there's a lot of good effort. There was a lot of great time and effort into this story that I personally really do have to say to the author is, great job with this story. This was honestly a really good one. So, yeah. Anyways, I personally do really need to sit here and say if there was anything that I do consider that needs to be, changed a bit or something that needed to be worked on was how why would this hijacker decide to air this version? Like, were they like some sort of mental patient or something? I mean, if there was a little bit more explanation to that, I mean, that would make it more believable. But still, it still really could have, helped out with the story a lot more. But that's just me. But overall, this story was not really bad. I personally really enjoyed this. So I guess with that being said and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and say right now that this is simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these stories. This is simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this story a 8.5 out of 10. While it's a really interesting concept and it's a pretty good story, it's believable in a sense. And the fact that Andrew went berserk, I mean, holy hell, I mean, he went berserk. And, I don't blame him for going berserk like that. I generally would be going berserk if a teacher was emotionally abusing me. Not like Andrew Ditch would claim. But why did I bring Andrew Ditch up? I don't know. But anyway, I personally really do need to sit here and say is that it's a pretty interesting story. I personally really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of time and effort into it. I like the concept of it. It's just a really great film. Now, I will sit here and say right now that this story is just simply my own personal opinion. So, if you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. I know I said it before, but I'll say it again for any of you guys who have not heard it. So, yeah. But anyways, I guess with that being said and that being the case, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm Shadow the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. As always, if you guys want to go follow me on my socials, links to all those will be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on those. And as always, if you have any story suggestions or anything like that, let me know. And as always, I will be catching you all in the next video, so have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever your time zone is. And I will be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, roll the outro because I'm out.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.